strength of the two punches was so evident, as Thomas Hearns just had more power, I thought, than Virgil Hill. But we have to wait for the official decision to find out who won this fight, and to tell us it's Jimmy Lennon Jr.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 12 outstanding championship rounds of boxing, we have a unanimous decision, and here are the score totals. Judge at ringside, Chuck Jumpa, scores about 116-112. Jerry Roth and Art Lurie, they both agree. They both scored about 115-113. All three in favor of the winner and the new light heavyweight champion of the world, Thomas Hitman Hearns.
Absolute joy in the corner of Thomas Hearns, and obviously a disappointed Virgil Hill. The scores again 116-112. Art Lurie, Jerry Roth each headed 115-113 for Thomas, which was the exact scorecard that the fight doctor Ferdy Pacheco had it. But Thomas Hearns has ascended to the title, a world title, for the 6th time in his career. He just had too much power, too much strength tonight against a fighter with a fine jab, fine boxing ability, Virgil Hill. But Thomas Hearns was a two-handed fighter tonight, and Virgil Hill basically was a one-armed fighter. A fighter who depended on his left jab. And now Thomas Hearns demonstrating to the fans that he again is number one.
Hey, fuck.
I got something to say. Ferdy Pacheco is getting Thomas
Tommy,
Hearns.
I know it's exciting and I know it's wild, even though no matter how many times you win the championship, it's always sweeter the last time. But you have turned boxer again, once again.
One thing I must say, I owe thanks to the good Lord upstairs. God was in my corner. Virgil Hill is not a man to take lightly. He's a fine, fine, fine boxer. And he deserves credit. And I must say that. Thank you, Lord! We did it again! Detroit, we're coming home! My corner people.
Tommy, you got an excellent corner.
Let me tell you about my corner people.
You fought a beautiful fight.
Listen, before I say anything about about my corner people, I want to say hello to my grandfather. He's 108 years old. Grandpa, we get it again, baby!
Let's look, Tommy, look at a couple of these right hands, which seemed impossible that he could take that kind of a punch. Now watch the right hands that you have landed. Look at that.
He was determined to hang it out, and I was just trying to get in there and do what I possibly can, try to set him up for body. That's basically what I want to do, work on the body.
Tommy,
his style was kind of awkward.
On 3 different occasions, you had big rounds, and then you let him get back in the second. Why did you do that? Did you rest?
I got to get the win, you know. I'm an old man. I got to suck it up, baby.
So the whole story about your legs being weak and your chin being weak has gone bye-bye.
They look weak to you.
Well, listen, let me tell you, I'm one of the ones that thought you might have overtrained, and I was wrong, and you were right.
Doc, what I want to say, the good Lord strengthened my leg and body, helping my corner people, Alex Shield, my brother Bill, and my entire staff. They made it all possible.
Okay.
We ran heels every other day.
Thomas Hearns back, and I, for one, I'm glad to see it. Back to Rich at ringside.
All right, thank you, Ferdy. And boy, the joy written on Thomas Hearns' face is clearly evident. Well, now we have the other side of the picture, and that is Virgil Hill. Standing by with him is our Al Bernstein. Al?
Well, Virgil Hill, always a class act in victory or defeat. Thanks for coming over here, Virgil. In the 6th and the 9th and the, I think the 11th rounds, he seemed to have you hurt. Were you hurt?
No, he hit me with some good shots, but, you know, he hit me, though. He didn't get in 6 with a good shot. That's the only time I was hurt.
What, you couldn't get untracked offensively. What was it that did that?
I don't know, I guess maybe the hype of the fight, basically.
Really, like you were too tight?
Yeah, a little bit, you know. Waited too long in front of him and stuff. It was a close fight.
You couldn't get your left hook going during this bout. I know you wanted to use that punch. A couple times you got it in. Why was that? Were you just not able to throw it?
Yeah, I just didn't throw it, you know, opposed too much.
What about the future? Very tough after 10 title defenses. Will you go back to the drawing board and stay as a light heavyweight?
Oh, most definitely. You know, that's only one loss. I'm still at the peak of my career, learning things. I just didn't execute the things that I should have.
And you'll go after the light heavyweight crown again?
Oh, most definitely. I'll get it back. Easy.
Disappointment, I know. How tough is this loss for you to take? Anything like when you lost the Olympics?
Yeah, pretty much. You know, it was a close fight. I thought maybe you should have took it to me a little more. You know, a closer fight. Should have maybe went to a champion, but oh well.
Good effort, Virgil. Virgil Hill, gracious in losing. Let's go back down to Rich Murata at ringside.
All right, Alan, thank you very much as well. Virgil Hill, as he mentioned, a lot of graciousness coming from Virgil Hill in defeat, as one would expect from him. He's an outstanding young man. He was outgunned tonight, though, by a two-handed fighter, as opposed to what Virgil had, which was basically the left jab.
Yeah, and a determination that I haven't seen in Tommy Hearns in years. He trained for 6 months. I thought he might have overtrained, but it didn't prove to be that way. His legs were there, his chin was there. Certainly he wasn't tested as far as that's concerned. But what impressed me most about Tommy Hearns was his ring generalship, his coolness, the way he took command, and the way he became what he always has been, a great champion.
How many times can this guy surprise us? Once again, he was a very severe underdog coming into a fight, as he was with Sugar Ray Leonard 2 years ago.
I think the surprise has got to come from Virgil Hill. Why didn't he move? Why didn't he fight his regular fight? Here's our friend Al Bernstein, who just finished talking. Maybe you can answer this question. Why would Virgil not move? What do you think he didn't move? He just stood in front of this guy.
Well, you know, I think, gentlemen, as we heard Virgil Hill talking, the key thing he said perhaps was he was simply too tight for this fight. You know, we forget about this sometimes. Sometimes when a guy gets in his first major fight, it becomes a big problem for him, and emotionally, he really can't get over it. And I think that is part of what happened tonight. You know, I might mention to both you gentlemen that tonight we saw 4 championships change hands. We saw Alfred Rangel not able to take away, we saw Troy Dorsey win the vacant title. We saw Gonzalez win his title back. The NABF crown went the other way. And now we see another challenger pick up the pieces.
I've got to tell you something in this regard. At the Forum, the Great Western Forum, and of course Forum Boxing was tonight the promoter of this bout, it has become known as the Graveyard of Champions. In just the last 6 months, 4 WBC champions have lost their titles at the Forum. And so it appears as though the Graveyard of Champions has moved over here to Las Vegas as well for Forum Boxing.
Lots of upsets, lots of excitement here tonight. We certainly hope you enjoyed it. It was a night in which Tommy Hearns did something many people did not believe he could do. For Freddie Pacheco and Rich Murata, I'm Al Bernstein. We hope you enjoyed what